So Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota are both pretty darn good quarterbacks, but what if they switch teams? So hey guys, what's going on, and welcome to the first, I guess you could call this Madden rebuild experiment, where I take a scenario and I just see how it plays out. So in today's scenario, we are going to see what happens if Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston were to switch teams. Now, back when the Tennessee Titans and Tampa Bay Buccaneers both had the #1 and #2 overall picks in 2015, there's a lot of debate on who the Bucs were going to take with their #1 overall pick. Was it going to be Jameis Winston? Was it going to be Marcus Mariota? They obviously did not believe in Mike Glennon, and in the end, they decided to go with Jameis Winston, as the Titans went with Marcus Mariota with the next pick. Now, there's been a lot of controversy and a lot of comparisons between the two as the years have gone on. Now, Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota both wrapped up their third years, and right now Jameis Winston kind of has the edge. Marcus Mariota has been injured. However, Jameis just finished his third year injured for a few games, so they're kind of in a deadlock right now on really determining who's better. You can make an argument for both sides, but today we're going to find out which one is the better quarterback. So I'm going to be playing as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I'm also going to be adding the Tennessee Titans into the mix, and I'm just going to go ahead and swap the quarterbacks from team to team, and we will get right back once that is done. Alright guys, now the trade has been done. Jameis Winston is on the Tennessee Titans. This is pretty weird. It was just a player-for-player trade. Nothing else was done. I do have control of both the Tennessee Titans and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so we can go ahead and take a look at the rosters here. Jameis Winston, that's actually funny. Marcus Mariota is only 1 point better than Jameis Winston, so that's pretty interesting. Looking at the running back position here, the Titans obviously have the edge with Derrick Henry, DeMarco Murray. Muhammad's actually pretty good as well. Wide receiver, though, I do feel that the Bucs have the edge, whereas their best receiver is Rashard Matthews. The Buccaneers have a little bit better options with Mike Evans, Deshaun Jackson, Adam Humphries, Chris Godwin. You know, they're just deeper wide receiver. At tight end, it's kind of a toss-up. They have Cameron Brate, whereas the Titans have Delanie Walker. So that's pretty interesting. Delanie Walker's a 98 overall. Never mind, actually. The Titans have the better tight end. But looking at offensive line, I also feel that the that Jameis is going to have a better time. He's going to be better protected. I really do like the Titans offensive line. I think they're very good, very underrated. Defense also as well is a little bit better slightly. Obviously the defensive line is pretty beastly. However, well, actually, no, I didn't even realize. Yeah, Titans are just an overall, at least in Madden, they're a pretty complete team. I still feel like the Buccaneers are better in certain areas, but wow, Madden's very generous to the Titans, I just realized. They did go to the playoffs, though, so it's going to make sense. But it'll be pretty interesting to see. Jameis Winston is going to have not as many weapons, but he will have more protection, and he'll have a little bit more support, especially in the run game. Marcus Mariota will have more weapons, though. And the offensive line won't be as bad, considering he'll be able to move around and stuff, which should be good. That should actually take a little bit of the pressure off of this Bucs offensive line. I'm not going to simulate anything. Injuries might stay on. I'm not sure yet. Don't know if I'm going to keep them on. Probably not, actually. I'm probably going to take them off just so we won't have, like, any distractions, I guess you should say. So, yeah, all in all, not too terrible of a team for the Buccaneers and the Titans. And it'll be very interesting to see. So let's go ahead and get right to the end of Season 1 and see how both teams did. Alright guys, so real quick here before I show you the stats and everything, the stats and records from Season 1, I just want to show you that I'm going to turn everything on automated. I'm going to give this probably 3 or 4 years, probably 3 just to be safe. I put everything on auto just because I don't want to have any input that would be biased to the Buccaneers. Cough, cough. Let's be honest, it'd be to the Buccaneers. But, yeah, James Hill is the owner of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Earl Hill is the owner of the Tennessee Titans. And the Bucs went 4-11-1, and the Titans went 7-9. So Jameis had the better record, but let's take a look at his stats real quick. So Marcus Mariota, 3,861 passing yards, 62 completion percentage, 28 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions, finishing with a 92.4 passer rating and taking 53 sacks. Dear Lord. You have Doug Martin with 994 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns and 5 fumbles, along with Mariota getting 107 attempts, 467 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And Mike Evans was the only 1,000-yard receiver with 1,115 yards and 5 touchdowns. Taking a look at the sacks allowed, Donovan Smith and DeMar Dodson didn't do that good. And on defense, Quan Alexander, Levante David, and TJ Ward all had over 100 tackles, and the Bucs did not have somebody get over 10 tackles, with Robert Ayers getting the most with 9, and Levante David led the team in interceptions with 5, and Patrick Murray made 24 of 26 of his field goals and 33 of 36 of his extra points, so that's pretty darn good. It's actually very confusing that this team went 4-11-1, but who knows, they play in a very tough division. Looking at the Titans though, 4,058 passing yards for Winston, 59 completion percentage, 27 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, so one less touchdown and one more interception than Marcus Mariota, 89.7 passer rating. However, Jameis did have the better record. Derrick Henry, 1,119 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns. DeMarco Murray, 479 and 13. Jameis Winston, 106 yards and 1 touchdown. So Jameis did have a better running game. And how many sacks did Jameis take? He took less than 50, right? He took 40, so better offensive line as well. Looking at the wide receivers, Corey Davis just really outshined everybody. 1,203 yards and 10 touchdowns. Dude's a beast. He probably got Offensive Rookie of the Year. 20 sacks allowed by Taylor Lewan, but everybody else did pretty okay. Avery Wilson and Wesley Woodyard both had over 100 tackles. You had Jarrell Casey being the only person who got over 10 sacks with 13.5, and you had Avery Williamson again leading the team in interceptions with 3, and their kicker made 13 of 15 field goals and 49 out of 50 extra points. Let's go look at the awards real quick. Drew Brees, I believe, is your MVP, right? Yep, Drew Brees is your MVP. Anthony Lynch is your Coach of the Year in the AFC. Tom Brady, Offensive Player of the Year. No Jameis Winston to be found. Defensive Player of the Year. Doesn't really matter. Let's go to the quarterback real quick. Tom Brady is the best quarterback, and Jameis Winston got 8th. And for the NFC, your Quarterback of the Year is Drew Brees, with Marcus Mariota getting 10th. So not too bad of a year from either guy. Marcus Mariota gets 7th for Offensive Player of the Year, whereas I don't believe Jameis even ranked. So that's kind of a big deal. Yep, Jameis didn't even rank. So that's interesting. But right now, this is the first season goes to Jameis. All in all, it'll be interesting to see what the teams do, who wins the Super Bowl and all that. I will tell you guys all of that as we go into next season. So until then, I will see you guys next season. Alright guys, on to season 2 here. Taking a look at the rosters, we have Marcus Mariota, quarterback. The Buccaneers did sign Jerick McKinnon to go along with Peyton Barber, as well as Tavon Austin they signed. They also got rid of Adam Humphries, and they also got rid of Cameron Brate, so kind of a big deal. They brought in Nate Solder, they brought in Jeff Adams, they kept Ali Marpet, they brought in Trey Hopkins, they also brought in Chris Long, as well as keeping Chris Baker for some unknown reason. They also decided to draft a cornerback in Montgomery, as well as get rid of Brent Grimes, so that's kind of interesting. They also signed Marcus Gilchrist and Tavon Wilson and Harold Jones Quarterly, so that's pretty interesting. But taking a look at the Titans roster real quick, you still have Derrick Henry and DeMarco Murray at running back. You still have Jameis Winston at quarterback. At wide receiver, you still have your same top 3. At tight end, you still have Delaney Walker. Offensive line still kind of looks the same. New left guard, new starting right guard. That'll be kind of interesting, but most of the core pieces are there. Austin Johnson is your starting left end, as well as Jarrell Casey, Sylvester Williams. Really, this team hasn't changed that much. Wesley Woodyard's still there. Avery Wilson's gone. That's kind of surprising. Devontae Fitzgerald's your new right outside linebacker. Adoree Jackson, Logan Ryan, LaShawn Sims are your guys. Kevin Bard and Jonathan Cyprien are your safeties. So we're going to go ahead and simulate all the way through to the end of Season 2, and I will see you guys at the end of it. Alright guys, we are at the end of Season 2 here, and the Buccaneers did not make the playoffs. They unfortunately went 8-8. However, the Tennessee Titans are in the playoffs, going 10-6, and I believe they won the division. They did win the division. Very close division, actually. Very close indeed. How is the NFC South? Not that close. If Bucs won one more game, maybe they take the Saints spot in the wild card. Who knows? But let's go ahead and take a quick look at the stats. But the Tennessee Titans are the first ones to make it to the playoffs under the leadership of Jameis Winston. So looking at the stats here, Marcus Mariota, 3,707 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, 65 completion percentage, and a 93.6 passer rating, and he was sacked 54 times. Now for rushing, Jerick McKinnon, 1,287 yards and 11 touchdowns, and Peyton Barber with 479, and Marcus Mariota with 350. 11 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns for Barber, and 4 for Marcus Mariota. So not too bad. Marcus Mariota did have a better rushing game this year. However, the passing was down. Mike Evans did not get 1,000 yards, nor did Chris Godwin or Deshaun Jackson. However, Godwin did get 10 touchdowns, so that is pretty impressive. Sacks allowed, Nate Soldier allowed at 28, so that is not very good at all. Quan Alexander is the only one with over 100 tackles. In terms of sacks, Joe McCoy leads the team with 11, and the new rookie Montgomery gets 4 interceptions. Did he win Rookie of the Year? He did. Good for him, and Levante David leads the team with 5, and their new kicker Chandler Catanzaro makes 90% of his field goals. So let's look at the Tennessee Titans real quick, just to see how they did. They are in the playoffs. Giorgio Tavaccio makes 84% of his field goals, so very nice. Jameis Winston, wow, good year from Jameis. That's actually very impressive. 4,249 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 62 completion percentage, sacked 42 times, and a 96.8 passer rating. That is actually pretty insane. Oh my gosh. Henry and Murray combined for 26 touchdowns, and over 1,700 rushing yards. Derrick Henry, 1,245. That's pretty impressive. Okay, so Corey Davis took a seat back, and Rashad Matthews and Taywan Taylor stepped up with 1,000 yards each, and Delaney Walker with 814. That's pretty good. In terms of sacks allowed, Taylor Lewan only allowed 12, and Wesley Woodyard had over 100 tackles. And Joel Casey had 14 sacks, and he just led the team by far. Pretty good. And wow, Dory Jackson had 6 picks and like one from Woodyard and 1 from Ryans. That's actually pretty crazy. Yeah, I imagine he made the Pro Bowl. Yeah, good for him. Cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch then to the Tennessee Titans because they are in the playoffs. Let's go to Earl Hill. And wow, that's, geez, Jameis Winston really did cut down on the turnovers. Let's see what can happen when Jameis cuts down on the turnovers, guys. So let's see, they actually won the division, and do they have a bye week? I think they do. That's pretty impressive. So far, Jameis Winston has been proving to be better for the Tennessee Titans here, and they are playing the San Diego Chargers in the divisional round of the playoffs. Let's see if they can win it. I'm very interested to see if they can win, because the Chargers are a very good simulation team. Let's see what happens here. They do not. They lose 35-24 against the San Diego Chargers. Well, as unfortunate as that is, we must continue on into the 3rd season, so I will see you guys in season number 3. Alright guys, we are in Season 3 and taking a look at the team here. Marcus Mariota is still your quarterback. Jerick McKinnon is your running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The wide receiving core hasn't changed since last season, nor has the tight end room, minus rookie Craig McCain. The offensive line is still the same for the most part. At least all the starters are the same. Defensive line, Kendall Grant is the Bucs' new starting defensive end, 6'7", 319 pounds. Dear Lord. Robert Ayers is still there. McCoy's still there. The defense is still the same for the most part. Montgomery's an 87 overall now after year 1. That's crazy. Hargraves is still there. And Gilchrist is still there, as is Harold Jones-Cordy. So not really much has changed for both teams, really. The Titans actually, I think, got a lot worse because they let Jameis Winston walk in free agency, and he went to the Chiefs. So I had to go back and control the Chiefs and manually trade him back. So Jameis Winston is the quarterback yet again. Derrick Henry, DeMarco Murray at running back. And wide receiver core still the same, minus Rashad Matthews. He went to the Kansas City Chiefs, actually, so that's pretty funny. The Chiefs were just stealing players from the Titans. Also, Delaney Walker, I think he retired, I'm not too sure, as well as they don't have a left tackle anymore. The offensive line has just gotten a lot worse. They did bring in Thomas Brinker at guard, so that's pretty interesting. Jack Conklin at tackle, Austin Johnson still your starting end, along with Jarrell Casey, so expect good years from them. But this team doesn't really have a very good direction. Kevin Dodd is actually your new outside linebacker, so that's pretty nice. Woodyard's still good, he can still go. And Devontae Fitzgerald is your full-time starter now at outside linebacker, and you have Adoree Jackson and Logan Ryan at cornerback, so not that bad at all. You still have Bard, you still have Cyprian, so not too bad. I do think the Bucs do have the overall advantage in terms of just pure roster talent, but I guess we'll see, and I will see you guys at the end of season number 3 and see if both teams make the playoffs, if only one team makes the playoffs, or if no team makes the playoffs. So I'll see you guys there. Alright guys, so a bit of a shock here in the third and final season with the team. The Buccaneers went 5-10-1. They never even did better than 8-8. And actually, very surprisingly, or unsurprisingly, I guess if you look at the rosters, the Titans went 6-10 as well. So just neither team did that well. I guess this is because just the computer just didn't make very good personnel moves. Not too sure, but let's go ahead and check out the stats real quick. So just looking, wow, Marcus Mariota, 3,879 yards, 36 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 101.5 passer rating, and 64% completion. And he was sacked 60 times. That sucks. Jerick McKinnon, over 1,000 yards and 4 touchdowns. Leverus Birch, okay, and Marcus Mariota, 268 yards and 1 touchdown, not too bad. And Mike Evans has just been getting worse every year, 751 yards, 6 touchdowns. O.J. Howard had a good year, 677, 10 touchdowns, and Chris Godwin had almost 1,000 yards with 9 touchdowns. Sacks, Nate Solder just isn't performing well. He lets up, I think it was like 25 sacks. You have Jones Cordy getting 100 tackles, Levante David getting over 100, Quan getting over 100. I think Quan also led the team as well in interceptions with 6. Montgomery got 4. That guy's a good rookie. 9.5 sacks for Gerald McCoy, 8.5 sacks for Robert Ayers Jr. And field goals, Chandler Catanzaro. 8 of 16. Yep, the Bucs kicking struggles are back. But really, Mariota had a really good year for this final year of this project. But let's take a look at the Tennessee Titans, see how they did. Yeah, Jameis Winston, not as good. 4,001 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, 13 picks, sacked 60 times. That's crazy. Was he sacked as much as Mariota? Yeah, they were both sacked 60 times. That's unfortunate. Just bad offensive line play, man. Bad offensive line play. 22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Like I said, an 89.5 passer rating. So Mariota got him beat stats-wise. Derrick Henry over 1,000 yards. DeMarco Murray 366. Jameis 200 yards and 1 touchdown. Henry and Murray combined for 21 touchdowns. Corey Davis is back to over 1,000 yards, and Tajay Sharp got 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. That's pretty impressive. Sacks allowed. Jack Conklin just really didn't perform well. Jarrell Casey is still a beast. 16 sacks. Pretty darn good. And Adoree Jackson with 5 picks. Not too bad. 64% of his field goals made by Mason Crosby. So I guess in terms of just overall, like records, you gotta give this one to Jameis Winston in terms of that pointage. He did have the best record, be it 10-6. I believe they also had a 9-7 record. But yeah, all in all, that was Jameis Winston. That's a point to Jameis Winston. But let's take a look at the stats here for the 3 years that they were running around, that we did have him go, the 2017, 2018, 2019 season. So Marcus Mariota finishes with not reaching 4,000 yards in any of the seasons. 28 touchdowns. He never had more. He only had more than 15 interceptions once. That's not too bad, but the numbers weren't fantastic. What was his rating? Does it say that? Yeah, his rating was fine, 92, 93, and then 101. He was just getting more efficient as time went on. I believe if we would have done another season, he probably would have ended up maybe leading the Bucs to a playoff run. It just depends on like what the CPU would want. I didn't want to be biased, however. That's why I decided to just let the computer make all the decisions, and some of them worked, some of them didn't, obviously. But Marcus Mariota just got sacked so many times. If you look at the 2 years before we started this simulation here, just a disgusting amount, 30 more times than in 2016. That's just wrong, and that was in the first year, and it just got worse as time went on. He did kind of stay around the same accuracy in yards per attempt and yards per game, kind of stayed the same as well. But all in all, his last season, he was a lot better. However, he never threw for more than 4,000 passing yards, which is pretty unfortunate. But let's take a look at Jameis Winston in his 3 seasons. Obviously, these guys have been staying the same in terms of overall, but Jameis Winston, his 3 years, he did get over 4,000 passing yards in each season, and he did throw less interceptions than Marcus Mariota, I believe, in all 3 of his years. Maybe Mariota threw less, but however, Jameis didn't necessarily throw as many touchdowns. Obviously, he was kind of regressing. He was limiting his turnovers to a certain degree, but he was throwing less touchdowns every year, and that's never good. And he was also kind of not as accurate. He had a much less completion percentage. However, he did throw for more yards. And again, like Marcus Mariota, he was sacked a lot more, but actually it was a lot less than Mariota, because you saw Mariota's were all in the 50s, and Jameis's were staying in the 40s until his final year when it hit 60. So that's never good. But in terms of rushing, Jameis Winston, it was just kind of mediocre. That's kind of expected, though. I believe it was the same for Marcus Mariota as well. Let me go ahead and check real quick for you guys. But yeah, as we can see, yeah, Jameis threw less touchdowns than Marcus Mariota in all 3 seasons, actually. So that's never good. But yeah, Mariota did have more rushing yards. So in terms of, I guess, like, pure yardage, you got to give this one to Jameis, and in terms of pure just winning, Jameis Winston wins that one as well. But in terms of statistics and efficiency, you got to give this one to Mariota. Maybe if you gave Mariota the blocking that Jameis Winston had, because obviously he just flat out had a better offensive line than Marcus Mariota. If you give Marcus Mariota that offensive line, maybe he does better, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But I guess in terms of overall winning, you give it to Jameis Winston, but in terms of just quarterback efficiency, you got to give it to Mariota. But yeah, all in all, this was an interesting experiment, I guess you could say. It was pretty even. Both quarterbacks still played pretty darn well, all things considered. Let me just go ahead and take a look at their career statistics real quick, and then we can head out of here. So where is it? Career statistics here. So yeah, Mariota, 17,000 passing yards, 135 touchdowns to 62 interceptions, and a 63 completion percentage, and a 95.1 passer rating, and sacked 228 times. And if we go to the Titans real quick, where are they? There they are. Jameis Winston, 123 touchdowns, 69 interceptions, and 20,440 passing yards, 60% completion percentage, and sacked 204 times. So really, Mariota had the better statistics, but Jameis Winston was just overall winning more. So yeah, not too bad. Did Jameis throw less picks in the end? No, he did not. Alright, well, that's it for this experiment, guys. Let me know what other experiments you guys want me to try down in the comment section below. I'm sorry this one might have been a bit of a dud, but, you know, it is what it is. Next one, let me know if you guys want to see more videos like this. I'm trying something new here. So yeah, I guess I'm kind of nervous about uploading this video, but I do hope you all enjoyed regardless. But as always, guys, I do hope you enjoyed, and as always, I will see you in the next video. But until then, goodbye for now, guys.